Intro. Right. It's a good evening from the studios in Brisbane. Our guest today is from Australia as well. And without further ado, I'll hand you over to Andrena in the UK.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, to Dreaming the New Dream, and especially if you're a new listener today. We're all about people sharing their passions, their vision, and with a story to tell. And today it's my great pleasure to have the lovely Michele Whalan on the show. So welcome, Michele, and it's really lovely to see you.
Oh, thank you, Andrena. And thank you, Andrena and Jeff, for inviting me onto your podcast tonight.
Well, I know you've got a lovely story to share, and I know that you've been a health advocate for a long, long time. And I know part of this show today is going to be about the drops, which I'm on, you're on, and so many others are on.
Yeah.
I know that the reason that you were on, got on them, was because of a car accident, and I also know that you've saved your son's leg because of the drops.
Yes.
But what I wanted to share, I was thinking about, like you have an accident and you think, well, why did that happen? And yet we could look at all the different reasons. Well, yes, I needed to boot up the ass and things like that, or I needed to knock somebody up the front forward, they needed a boot up the backside, or did I create this, or all of that? And I was thinking, well, like you, I had an accident 18 months ago now and could barely walk, and trauma and all of these things, and was in agony. And I think now, if I hadn't have had that accident, through Sequoia keeping on at me, for God's sake, get on these drops. They'll make all the difference. You'll feel so much better. Anyway, she got me on the drops. Within weeks, I could start walking again. I could move my body around and all sorts of things. So it was thanks to Sequoia that she got me on the drops. So if I hadn't have had that mishap or whatever, I've shared crops with so many other people and animals that I wouldn't have been able to do that if that hadn't happened. So looking at it from a positive point of view. So without further ado, let's start off. You were born in New South Wales, and all the steps to where you are now with, the amazing team that you've built up since. How about that then?
Yeah, I was born in a little country town called Narrandera. It's in between Wagga and Griffith. I had two sons in Narrandera, and then we moved to Canberra, and I had another two sons. So I've got four sons, four granddaughters, and three grandsons. And we lived in Canberra for 14 years. And my husband and I, we always had the dream of moving to Queensland. And his mum happened to be working at Boys Town in Beaudesert, and we came up to visit in Boys Town, Beaudesert, and we just fell in love because I've never been to Queensland before, and neither had Paul. And we just said, that's it, we're moving. So we went back to Canberra. We had a 4-month-old baby, and we just packed up and we moved here. Now, I've always been sort of, you can call it the black sheep of the family. I've always been into alternative health. I've always been, they call me the hippie. Anishil's the weird one. She's into alternative health. I was always looked upon as the strange one, because I was always looking for natural benefits in really good health products. I was never a person that went to the doctors very much, but my family, of course, and as you both know, that our parents lived to go to the doctors and they believed everything the doctors said. But with mum and dad, when they were having issues with their health, I would say to them, try this, try this supplement, I think it was the first thing I got them on was MSM. And that made such a difference. I can see Sequoia's online. Hi, Sequoia.
Hi, Sequoia.
And it made such a difference just for Mum back then, was the MSM. And so my husband and I, we always were open to to learn more, do research on natural health products. And I got approached by a fair few companies to sell their products, to go to their expos, which I did that for about probably 5 or 6 years. And plus I used to teach meditation and healing classes. And I just had the heart to help those that were suffering in pain. A lot of people just didn't really know why they were having these issues in their life and why they were having these problems in their body. So I would lay hands on them, and intuitively God would tell me what their problem was. And a lot of it was back from generations, actually. I remember when I started learning about the generations and about the curses that can have that can come on your life through the generations, which I really didn't know anything about any of it. So it was just fascinating what I started learning on my journey. And my family just thought I was just so weird, because I would say things to Dad, different things about dying, and like when it was time for him to pass, he would be going to a very peaceful place, and I'd read him really beautiful spiritual books, and because I knew his time was coming, because God told me that he would be passing over very soon. So I would sit with Dad and I'd just read these beautiful stories to him, and I could just see his face lighting up. Even though Shelley was the weird one, she was the one that gave peace to my father when he was dying, and also peace to my mother when they were dying, because I understand what was happening. And I remember when Mum was dying, my sister and I were sitting in the room, and it was a wind chime, and all the doors were closed. And then the next minute I could hear the wind chime starting to move, and I knew that there was no windows open, no doors open. And it got louder, the wind chime, and I looked over and I saw my mum take her last breath. And so it was just because I was with her, with her in her last moments of her drawing her last breath, and it was just so beautiful to experience that with my mum and Dad. And from there, again, I was always looking for other products, and just always searching for new things. And of course, I went down the rabbit hole of where we are right now in life. I did that in 1997, and wow, that gave me nightmares. So I think once you become awake to your reality that you're living in, you can't go back, because your eyes are fully awake. And I love traveling. Traveling's my passion. I've been on about 18 cruises. I've been to every single.
So you'd recommend a cruise then, would you?
I would totally recommend a cruise. Yes. I've been on most of the cruise lines. I've done every single island on the South Pacific. I'm going again in February with my niece and her family. That's a new ship I haven't been on. I haven't been on the Carnival, but that is a family ship. So I'm going to New Zealand again. I've been to every single island in New Zealand on a cruise ship.
Really? Wow.
So, I just love it. I find it's just so peaceful, and you get that time to really look within and have a good reflection on your life. And I find for me, cruising is extremely healing. And I would get to sit with different people at the dining room tables, and because everyone thinks I'm out there, and even these people that even on cruises thought that I was out there, because I'd start saying things to them at the table. It was just about things that were coming through, and I'd start saying, they go, "Oh, you know, where did you get that from?" And I said, "Oh, God told me." And they go, "Oh, are you a psychic or something?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm just a vessel, just a vessel for the Lord, for God. And when He wants me to share something, when He wants me to share something, then I know that it's for this person. And if I don't share it, I'll keep on hearing it till I do, because it will just keep playing. I'll just keep hearing it over and over again."
Yeah, sounds like Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze. I'm King Henry VIII. I am.
That's it. And I went to beautiful Vietnam last year, and that's something I've always wanted to do.
Where did you say? B&M?
Vietnam.
Oh, Vietnam. Beg your pardon.
Yes, so I went to Vietnam and went to Ho Chi Minh first, and then we flew to Da Nang, and then we went to Hoi An. Have you been there?
Yeah,
to those places?
Yeah, loved it.
Wow, the most beautiful, spiritual people I think I've ever come across in my life. They were so heartfelt. I felt safe walking in the dark, like we were staying at this beautiful resort in the old city of Hoi An, and I felt very safe at night after the markets were finished to walk by myself back to the resort, because I just felt so safe in Vietnam. And they would bend over backwards to do anything for you. They just were so helpful, so friendly. I made friends with the massage lady across the road. She organised motorbikes to take my sister and I behind her cousins on the motorbike. She took us to the the boats, the coconut boats. Did you go on them? Oh
no, I didn't go on them, but I know what you've been there.
They were so much fun, and of course it was her family that organised it and took us to the coconut boats. And then we went up to up the big cable car. Did you do that?
No.
Yeah, we went up the cable car. I don't know. I can't remember exactly where it was. Well, somewhere out of Da Nang, and they had built like a movie set up there. It was like a huge big castle, and they had roller coasters up there, and all these magnificent places to go and eat in the most beautiful gardens I've ever seen. And you just don't go up one cable car. You go up one, and then you stop and you get off that level and you walk around. Takes you about an hour to walk around that level. It's so huge. And then you go up again, and then you walk around another level, and then you go up again, and that's where the roller coaster was and all the beautiful.
Oh my God.
I know. I say to anyone who is listening, if you really want to go for a very spiritual, beautiful holiday, to experience the most beautiful, loving people, go to Vietnam, because I enjoyed every single moment that I was there. And my son proposed to his partner while we were there, so that was even more special. Right on the bridge, the bridge crossing over in Hoi An in the old city.
Yeah,
he proposed on the bridge.
Oh.
And I was there at the bottom of the bridge. I didn't know what was happening, and that when I was coming to them, Ebony was doing this like. And I thought, oh yeah, I can see that fake ring on her finger, but I don't think it's real, so I'm just going to pretend I don't see it. and I kept on doing this, and I'm thinking, I think they're trying to show me something. And I said, is it real? And they said, yes. Ebony said, Josh got on his hands and knees and asked me to marry him. So Vietnam was just so special. They'd been together for 8 years, so it was really, really beautiful. It was really beautiful. So
I've been there 3 times with my friend Denise, because her daughter lived there, so we used to go over, and I've done Ho Chi Minh and all the different places and the temples, and we just love it. I really loved Vietnam.
Beautiful.
And like
did
you say,
go up north?
Sorry?
Did you go up north?
I remember we went to, I can't remember all the names now, Ho Chi Minh. I can't.
It's Hoi An and there's
Hoi An. Yeah.
Well, Yeah, I'm trying to think. Hoi An's, I think, up further.
Yeah.
I think further up north.
But yeah, no, it was lovely. And like you say, the people are, just amazing.
Just
So,
beautiful. Yeah. Like I've been to
yeah.
Bali many times. I've been to Thailand. I've been to all the islands. I've been to China, but I had never felt the people like I felt in Vietnam. So I can't wait to go back and do a little bit more exploring around Vietnam. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
I can see you got the map there. I'm just trying to see where it was. I'm trying to get my fingers to open the screen up, and I know it's not going to work.
Yeah,
So
we did Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh. But yeah, anyway, magical place. It was so stunning. Apart from, the only thing I found for me was the litter in some of these places. The litter, the waste and rubbish.
I didn't see any. It was
No,
so
I can't remember where we were, but one place was,
yeah.
I thought, oh my gosh. But anyway.
No, I didn't see any litter at all in Hoi An. Ho Chi Minh I felt overwhelmed because when I was in the taxi, the cars are coming straight for you. And I really thought that they were going to have a head-on crash. It was just so scary. I remember putting my hands over my eyes saying, oh my God, please God, I'm too young to die.
Well, when we used to cross the road, because everything comes at you everywhere, we just put our hands up and we didn't look. We just went straight across the road, but we'd never get across the road.
Oh, my sister just pulled me. She said to me, don't look at them, just walk. And I had to just not look to the left, not look to the right. I had to just hold her hand and walk. And what they do
That's what we did.
They weave in between you. You feel them going past you. Oh, that was pretty scary. Yeah, that was pretty scary. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me with my travel. I love traveling, love experiencing different cultures and meeting new people. And of course, you'll always meet not only the the people from their own country, but you'll meet the tourists that go there as well. So then you make friends with people all around the world, and that's one thing I love with traveling is making new friends everywhere. Yeah.
Right. So that's sharing your lovely holidays and places that you've visited. Would you like, because I know you were in an accident, what happened to you and all the steps that have been leading up to the drops?
Yep. Okay, so back in 2017, I was working in a resort in Golden Beach, and I made this beautiful dinner this night, but I gave it to someone else to eat, and I thought, no, I'm going to go across and get Vietnamese. Funny that. So off I go. It wasn't very far from where I was from the resort, and I'm crossing the middle of the crossing, and I looked, and I saw a red car. That's all I remember. And she hit me. From what I've been told, there's been the footage from the shops across the road. I never saw them. I don't ever want to see the footage. I was thrown into the windscreen of the car, but I don't remember any of that. But what I do remember is rolling in a ball. It wasn't a ball. Actually, it was in like an egg of white and yellow light. And I heard this voice say, trust me, you will be okay. And I was told that I landed 20 meters, I bounced off the windscreen. I smashed the windscreen of the car, landed 20 meters up the road. And when I gained consciousness, I heard the voice again. It was so loud and clear, say, trust me, you will be okay. So I'm trying to get my head off the ground to sit up because I heard God say, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I can remember moving my head up a little bit, but the spin. It was, my head was just spinning, and I couldn't move one of my legs. And my sister was also working at the resort. She had heard someone in our uniform, we were wearing a Wyndham uniform, that had been hit by a car. Oh gosh, I'm getting emotional because I'm thinking about how my sister felt.
I got gooses as you're telling me this.
Yeah, and she ran across the road and she didn't know how she was going to find me. And she said that one leg was turned out, and yeah, she was looking for blood, but she couldn't see. Now that's not me, Jeff.
That's her son.
That's not me. I couldn't find any pictures of mine. They would have been on my old phone, but anyway, she was there, and I remember there was a lot of people around me, but you can hear them. But my eyes, everything was, I was just spinning. And finally, I got in the ambulance, and my sister called my son Tim, who we'll talk about soon, and he's on the phone, and I'm saying, "Don't worry, Tim. God told me I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be fine." So anyway, I go to the hospital, and I tell them at the hospital that I'm okay because God told me I'll be okay. And they did an X-ray, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me.
Wow.
So yeah, so I was sent home. My two sons came to the hospital and took me home, and I can remember my son saying, "Are you okay? Do you want us to stay the night?" And I said, "Oh, no, I'll be fine." But I wasn't. I can remember when I was lying on the bed and my teeth then started to shatter because I was going into shock. And I think I called my sister. Yeah, she came and sat with me because, yeah, once you go into shock, I can't really remember much about that, but I was in shock. And she said I was sounding a bit delirious and saying things. But anyway, the next day when I woke up, my leg was just out like a balloon. I couldn't even walk on it, and I couldn't get out of bed. The vertigo was horrific, and my eyes, everything was just spinning. So she ended up by taking me back to the hospital. They ended up by doing a CT scan that I had 2 cracked ribs, and I had a broken leg, and I had these splits. I can't remember the exact wording, but like fragments, fractures in the brain. So I was then allowed to go home. I was allowed to go home, but the trauma sets in. So with then going to the specialists, and I had an operation on my leg, and then my leg wasn't healing. My leg was taking about 3 or 4 months. It just still wasn't healing. Then they found out later on that I had a split tendon in my leg, so another operation again on that. And the vertigo, I was having treatment for vertigo. Nothing was helping me with the treatment for vertigo. I was still spinning. I could never bend down. I could never look down, and in getting out of bed, I'd have to touch the side of the wall just to stop the spinning. And I can remember, I don't know if you know, Jeff, but in Bulcock Beach, there's a place called the Drift Bar. Have you ever been up there? And I can remember it was the first time she'd taken me out, and I said to her, I need to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and I got stuck in the toilet. I couldn't get out because I was having a massive vertigo attack in the toilet, and this continued on virtually for years. And with the trauma that set in, my mum died a month after my accident, and my husband died 3 months later. So I had,
oh my gosh,
I got hit on January the 13th. My mum died in the February. My husband died in the June. So I went down into a very dark place. Yeah. Yes.
I can imagine.
I haven't thought about this for such a long time, and it's just bringing back memories.
I bet.
Of what I went through. And people would come to visit me in my home, and I'd look at the clock, and I'd be waiting, like looking at the clock, thinking, oh, when are they going to leave? I couldn't handle anyone to talk to me. My brain was hurting, and I was under a psychiatrist, and of course, she gave me all this medication. But just to let you know, I never took anything. I never took one drug. Oh, it's probably not meant to say that, but I just didn't take any medication.
Well, no, but it's being honest and upfront.
Yeah,
You know, we make choices.
Yeah, I didn't take anything at all, and this went on actually for years. I was constantly going for physio, for treatment, but nothing was healing the trauma. And when depression sets in, you can't get out of bed. It was so hard for me to get out of bed in the morning. It was so hard for me to even go up the street and do my shopping. I just wanted to go home. What I did, my sister told me that I virtually shut myself up, off from the world. For 2 years, I really didn't go anywhere. I didn't interact with people. I did go on, I was actually said it was okay to go on cruises. And I went on 2 cruises in that time of my recovery. And it was just so good to be there and I couldn't talk to people. And at that one of the cruises that I went on, my husband was dying. So that's why I was on that cruise, just to try and give me the strength to help me get through his death. He was dying of a terrible cancer. And the cruising helped me gain strength, because I knew I would need that strength for the next thing that I'd be going through with the loss of my husband. So so this went on for years. I got hit by the car in 2017, and I've been struggling for years. And last year, I go to a church. It's called Fire Church on the Sunshine Coast. I'm a Christian, and my pastor and his wife, they are very much awake. It's a church where they talk about what's happening in the world, where a lot of pastors don't talk about it. And he was against all the mandates and everything. And so a friend of mine told me about the drops just after church, actually. And I said to her, look, I've taken curcumin, I've taken lots of things. I'm really not that interested. I sort of was fobbing her off.
Yeah.
Anyway, she invited me into this disruptive wellness group. And I went in the group and I had a look, because my sister was suffering so bad with arthritis, like she couldn't even do a bra up. So I started reading the testimonies, and I said to my friend, look, I'm going to buy a few bottles just to see if they're going to work. So I did. I ordered a few bottles, and they arrived, and I got my sister on it straight away. And I started taking it. I was thinking of my sister before I was actually thinking of me. So I started taking them. I was taking 10 drops in the morning and 10 drops at night. The first morning I woke up after taking the drops, I thought, wow, have I just slept through the night? Because I would wake at 2 o'clock and I'd never get back to sleep till 5 o'clock. That went on for years. I'd never, ever slept through the night. And I couldn't believe that I actually slept through the night and had a good night's sleep. And when I got out of bed, I still had the spin. I still need to touch the wall. But I don't know, I felt different. And as the days went on, I started reading more stories in Disruptive Wellness Group and realised, oh my gosh, it's lifted this foggy brain. I can now see things more clearly. And it was like my pituitary gland started to really pop open, and I started to hear from God again, where all those years it was silent. I wasn't hearing. My connection to God just wasn't there. And I can feel my connection to God starting to come back again. And then I noticed that the discomfort that I was having with, I did have really bad arthritic discomfort in my knees. And I was able to start walking without having any discomfort in my knees. And it's like, oh my gosh, this stuff really works. So then I started to share it with some other friends, and I shared it with a girlfriend. And this girlfriend, she started taking it, and she hadn't walked on the beach for years, and she started then to was able then to walk on the beach. And my sister was able to do her bra up, where she hadn't been able to do her bra up for years. And also too, she had an operation on her fingers, because her fingers had all seized up. So she had 3 operations on her fingers, and now she's able to actually move her fingers again. And it was just like, it was mind-blowing, all these benefits that were happening to people, you know, like to people around me with these drops. And in between me just starting on the drops, my son had had a bad motorbike accident in February. He was in hospital with 3 very bad blood infections. And I rang him and I said to him, look, I don't know if these drops will help you, but they've arrived. I'm on them. I'm starting to feel really good on them. I'm not having so much inflammation. I can feel the inflammations being removed out of my body. It's just remarkable how I'm feeling. I'm starting to feel joy back in my life, and my connection to God is just so much stronger. And I said, would you like me to send them down to you? And he goes, oh, I'm willing to give anything a go, because he was very, very ill in hospital. They had put, I think it was about 5 lots of treatments. You know what I mean? Like 5 through intravenous strips, 5 lots of treatments to try and kill these 3 infections. So they sent him home, and his drops arrived on the Wednesday, and the doctors had rung him that morning, and the doctors gave him a very bad diagnosis over the phone. They said that they were very worried that the infections were going to go to his bone, and they might be looking at amputation. And he rang me, and he was just absolutely freaking out. He said, oh, Mum, he said, I can't have my leg amputated. And I said, I can tell you right now, Tim, I said, I've been praying, and I know you won't have to have your leg amputated. So anyway, I got him on taking 15 drops in the morning and 15 drops at night. And he rang me the next day and he said, Mum, what's in this stuff? And I said, well, it's curcumin. And he said, I have slept through the night. I'm able to swing my leg over the bed, because he was in plaster, able to swing my leg over the bed, and without the blood rushing to my foot. He said, it's working. He said, I can't believe it. And I said, no, I can't either, because I'm hearing all these different stories, but now you're telling me your story. So these drops are absolutely, they're just amazing, these drops. You know, like just hearing his testimonies, and each day he was ringing me, and he said, Mum, I was able to go to soccer and stand with crutches under my arms, watching my 2 sons play soccer. And he said, and I haven't been able to do this now for 3 months. And he said, you know what? And I said, what? He said, I've got my joy back. And he said, and I'm feeling a strong connection to God. This is what happens, because what the drops do is they cross the blood-brain barrier. And as they cross the blood-brain barrier, they're working from the top of the head going right down through the body. And what they're doing is opening up the cells and releasing the inflammation in the body, so the cells can rejuvenate again. And like every day I was getting these phone calls. The best phone call that I got was 3 days, that was actually 5 days later. He had a culture done on his leg, and he said, this is where the infection was. And the reason why what happened was, when he had the stitches taken out, there was a wound that wouldn't heal. And that wound that didn't heal, that's how he got the 3, this is it here, how he got the 3 really bad blood infections. And once I got him on the curcumin, there's a story behind this. When he was in hospital and he was on 20 drops at night and 20 drops in the morning, this is the second time, because he actually got the infection twice. The curcumin pushed the poison out of his body. And what you see is a massive big explosion where the curcumin had pushed the poison out of his leg, and that stopped the poison, the infection, from actually going into his bones. They were very worried that it was going to interfere with the hardware that was in his leg. And once you get infection on a hardware, you virtually can't get it out once the infection's in the hardware. So with that, the first time that Tim got the infection, within 5 days, the doctors rang him and said to him, we don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because your bloods are clean. There is no more infection in your body. Now, going back 12 months later, Tim's walked too quick on his leg and the hardware was sticking out of his leg. So he had to have an operation again. This is number 2 operation. And then a wound on the second operation, again, would not heal. And Tim ended up by getting, and he wasn't taking the drops. Because when I went down to visit him, I said to him, the drops are here, are you taking the drops? Yeah, I'm taking the drops. And I said, because your leg's in plaster, I said, you are prone now for an infection in your leg. I said, be very, very careful. So when they took the plaster off, took the stitches out, again, a wound would not heal, and he ended up by getting, I think he only got one really bad infection, but it was enough for them to be concerned that they might have to amputate his leg. So again, at that night he was in hospital, I said to him, you need to take 20 drops right now, and 20 drops first thing when you wake up in the morning. So that's 40 drops. And when he got up out of bed to go to the toilet, he felt an explosion in his leg, and that was the poison popping out like a volcano out of the leg. That photo that you showed, Jeff, was if you want to put that photo up. If you want to go back to a few more photos where you see the infection, and as the nurse is peeling back the bit further back again. If you can you go this? I think there's a couple. Yeah, just here is. Yes, this is where they had to open him up again. And the next photo is when the infection actually got into his leg again. And the photo with the hole in it is where the curcumin was pushing out the poison out of his leg. And then after I think it was about 3 or 4 days again, he had the tests come back, and the doctor said, again, we don't know what you're doing, but keep on doing it, because it's cleaned all the infection that's in the blood. And with that, with what's happening now with the drops that I want to share with everyone has a purpose in their life. I was never too sure of what my purpose was, but I always had a heart to heal people, to lay hands on people, to pray over people. And once I started on the drops, then people would ring me to talk to me about the drops. And through them ringing me and talking to me about the drops, I would be helping them, counselling them, praying for them over the phone, and helping actually many, many people with deliverance, with breaking off the generational curses, breaking off the spirit of trauma, breaking off the spirit of suicide. So I now have a healing ministry through the golden drops, and that was never ever. I would never have turned the clock back 2 years. I would have never have thought that these golden drops would lead me to so many people, helping so many people who are suffering in silence, and so many people who are suicidal. And that's my purpose in life now, is to help as many people as I can, and lead them to the Lord. And God uses me as a vessel for the Holy Spirit. So I work for God. I'm a vessel for the Lord. And that's a bit about me now, and what the golden drops have actually done for me and done for my family. And now I have a mission to help as many people as I can to be set free, because so many people are stuck and they just do not know how to move forward. And they don't realise that you know, like suicide is a spirit, and it's a demonic spirit. And yeah, so that's a bit about me.
So I know you've got quite a team now, haven't you? So you've built up quite a team, and do you want to share, because obviously like with the drops, like we're both walking ambassadors of health.
Yes.
You know, like I share because I was in so much pain, and when I used to live in Australia, I used to fly in and out, and I had inflammation in the knee, and it was always slightly swollen, and it always affected me walking and all sorts of things like that. And I don't, for years, this, you know, affected me. Sometimes it was fine for months. And then, but since it drops, the only time I get a twinge is if I do too much trampolining.
I love that.
So, you know, for me, I love helping people and healing and with sound, and I'm on a mission to help people as well, naturally. I mean, I do
Yes.
I do everything as natural as possible. Everything has its place, but not in my place. Yeah, so I know you've got quite a team, and the thing is, like they say, these drops are blessed by the Christ consciousness or a gift from God or whatever, and I really believe they are, because they are affordable, and especially for the animals. You know, I've got some lovely testimonials from friends that one's cat was dying, and I reached out to her, and the cat's still going on, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and the vet gave the cat a week. You know, different things like that. So, and then I shared a little video of Pagan, who I was doggy sitting for, who had a lot of skin irritations. And I said to my friend, while you're away, can I give her the drops? And yes, she said, because she had a little limp, she had arthritis or something in her foot. And anyway, she came up and down the tour, which is all the way up and all the way down, with a friend recently. And she's not limping anymore. You know, she may now and again, but the main, she can walk without the limp. And it's little things like that. You know, I'd have everybody on the drops, just give them especially for maintenance of the body now more than ever, because there's so much energy changes. We're in the greatest time of history. And there's more and more people are having more of an awareness, I suppose, than, I don't want to use the word waking up, but having a more of awareness that are different things that are going on, and they've not maybe been fed the truth in lots of different ways. And it's, you know, I just say, well, how can I help naturally? You know, who can I help today? And, you know, and I add everybody to this disruptive wellness group. And I say, just put in brain, arthritis, you name it, all the different things. And there's real testimonials. They're not like Mrs. Smith said, you know, after I taken These are real living people that have, even like from strokes, there are people who are recovering. For me, I think this is the most amazing thing that I've ever been on, because, you know, like as you go through life, you take this for a while, and then somebody says, oh, try this. And, you know, on my pathway, I've tried lots of different things, as well as doing self-healing and, you know, working on myself and issues that come up. So yeah, so share a little bit about your group, and then you were, because the Vidafy's opened up in the Gold Coast, wasn't it? Was it a few weeks ago now?
Yes, we had the launch for Australia at the Gold Coast, which was absolutely incredible. There was over 1,000 people there, and the testimonies, oh my goodness. One that blew everyone away was Naomi Reed. She was a long-time sufferer of fibromyalgia. She used to work on the huge big trucks out into the mines, and I think Naomi's there in the in the brown dress. Her testimony was just mind-blowing, how she suffered with vertigo really bad as well. She wasn't able to get out of bed after an injury that she'd had on one of the dump trucks, and she'd been on the drops for about 3 months. They weren't working, so she was saying to Mel, and Mel said, no, you need to give it time. They will work. You need to give the drops at least 90 days to repair the cells in the body. And as she was going on to I think it was the 3.5 months, Naomi, they kicked in, and then Naomi started to notice life changes, absolutely life-changing, where the inflammation was being removed out of her body. Her pituitary gland was more open, her brain fog had gone, her headaches were going, and she was able to walk better because she wasn't able to walk without a walking stick, and just phenomenal. And just the different testimonies that we heard down at the Gold Coast with the business side. I would only share about the product. I would never talk to anyone about the business. And once they got onto the product, then they wanted to be able to come in as a wholesaler so they could go out there and share and talk about these amazing anointed golden drops. And virtually that's how my business grew. I've got over 200 people in 12 months in my business, and it's just about sharing our story. We're not selling, we're not trying to sell you a product. We're sharing what the product's actually, which is the golden drops, what it's done for us, how it's been a life-changing experience by being on the golden drops. So anyone that is suffering with all sorts of ailments, whatever your ailments are, a brain fog is a huge one. Depression is a huge one. So many people at the moment are stuck in fear. They're just so frightened of what's happening in the world. And I find with taking the drops, just seems to, because it crosses the blood-brain barrier, it takes that edge off depression and fear and opens up the natural endorphins that you start to feel joy again in your body. Like there was this girl from church, her name was Amy. This was 2 weeks ago, and she walked out, and when the Holy Spirit is on me, I know I need to lay hands on the person, and I don't just walk up to anyone at church and do that, because I'm actually on the welcome team on the front door. And as she was walking out, I just said, like, just straight away, "No, Amy, can I pray for you?" And she said yes. And she won't mind me sharing this because she's shared it on her page as well. There was a spirit of suicide on her. So I prayed for her, and I broke off the spirit of suicide off her, and just prayed healing into her body after that. And God said to me, give her a bottle of golden drops, because I did have one in my bag. So I gave her the bottle of the drops, and I told her what to do. She rang me 2 days later. She'd been stuck in bed like all week, hadn't been able to get up except when she goes to church. She said, I got up. She said, I can't believe it. She said, like, this brain fog has just lifted. She was talking 100 miles an hour. She said, I've just cleaned all the cupboards out. I've cleaned all the kitchen. I've washed all the floor. And she's going, blah, blah, blah. She said, oh my God, what's in this stuff? And I said, it's curcumin, a natural herb that comes from the turmeric plant. And so she can't stop sharing what it's doing for her. And that happened in just virtually 2 days. She had results in 2 days. Not everyone gets results immediately, as you know, Andrena. It can take up to a month. It can maybe take 6 weeks. What's Mel saying? Best thing I've ever done. Oh, yes, I'll share my story about Mel too. So, yeah, everyone's different. Everyone's body's different. For me, it was about 2 weeks that I got results. Now, another time, going back September of last year, this lady walks into Fire Church. She lives actually up in Mackay. I didn't know her, but I knew the little girl that she had brought with her because I walked my dog Stella into the park, and little Holly ran up to me and hugged me, and I said, oh, Holly, what are you doing at church? She said, my mum's friend Mel brought me to church. So I welcomed Mel with a hug, and I said, would you like to sit with me in church? She said, I'd love to. So she sat with me in church. We got Holly put into the kids' church. And while Mel was sitting next to me, I just kept getting it nonstop from the Lord was, tell her about the drops. Tell her about the drops. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. I'm in church. I'm not going to tell her about Like, no, I'm not telling her about the drops at all. And she's saying, God saying, tell her about the drops. And I went, no, when the right time, I'll tell her about the drops. Because, you know, it's a bit rude. You're sitting in church and then you go, hey, would you like me to tell you about the golden drops? So anyway, when church was finished, I walked with her up to the kids' church, which is outside, another outside building. And the Holy Spirit was so strong on me. And I said, Mel, I said, the Holy Spirit wants me to talk to you about the golden drops. And she goes, oh, yeah.
Yeah, as they do.
She goes, oh, yeah. And I started explaining to her about the drops, and she says, oh, okay. And I'm talking to her more and more and explaining to her what it does. And so we ended up by meeting in the park just over the road from where I live. So I met up with her, and her girlfriend, Penny, had just lost her husband. So she was in a lot of pain and in trauma and so much sadness. And Penny hadn't walked out of her house since her husband had died. Actually came to the park with Mel. That was huge. So I met Penny at the park and I met Mel at the park. And then I started sharing with the ladies what I knew the drops would be able to do for them, what benefits that I knew the drops would be able to do for them. I knew it was going to be life-changing for Mel's life and for Penny's life. So Mel came to my house. She bought the drops off me. She gave one to Penny, and then she went home. And I think she rang me 2 days later, and she said, oh my gosh, she says, I cannot believe what's happening with me. I think she had something with her arm. I think she had what's when you get, I don't know, she had something in her arm. There was something wrong with her arm. She couldn't move her arm. And then she was able to move her arm, move her shoulder. She started to...
Is that repetitive strain injury?
Yes, something like that. Mm. And she just couldn't believe the benefits that she was feeling. So she called me and she said to me, how do I become a wholesaler? And I said, well, this is what you do. She said, that's it. So anyway, she became a wholesaler. She has got, this is no word of a lie, she is a retired hairdresser in Serena, which is just an hour from Mackay, but she works sometimes in her son's barbershop, which used to be her old shop. She's got most of Serena actually on the golden drops, and the stories, and she was the one that shared the drops with Naomi, the one that really suffered very bad with fibromyalgia. So just the stories and how, and like I introduced it to Lulabelle, and Lulabelle had amazing results from taking the drop. She introduced it to Sequoia. Sequoia then asked, could she become a wholesaler? Which Sequoia introduced it to you.
And here we are.
And here we are. That's how it works. And I was able to look. I wasn't that interested in the business side of it. I was happy to be earning, a little bit of cash here and there, and making money in my Vidafy e-wallet. But my passion more was to see people just being set free from their discomfort in their body and people getting their lives back. That was just bringing me so much joy. And for people calling me out of the blue, and then all of a sudden I'm praying with them and I'm leading them to the Lord, and I'm praying over them, breaking off generational curses, and it's been miraculous healings through God using me as his vessel, and also too the miraculous healings, the anointing that's actually on the golden drops. It's been life-changing. So I was then able to move up the ranks really quick to Premier, and I didn't even really know what Premier was. I was thinking, I was in Vietnam actually when I reached Premier. So I didn't really understand all that, but then I was presented on stage at the Gold Coast with a beautiful, I think it was Seiko watch, and presented with that, and to be actually honoured on stage. That's it there. I was being presented with the watch, and also congratulated on being regional founder of Australia, like the founders of Australia and New Zealand. And for me, the golden drops have just opened up this amazing door of where my life purpose is meant to be. And when I was hit by the car and I was rolling in a ball of white and yellow light, and And I heard God's voice very clear saying, trust me, you will be okay. It wasn't my time to die, because he had a
Totally
mission
not.
for me. He had a purpose
Mm.
for me. And the purpose is for me to bring as many souls as I can into his kingdom through the golden drops. Yeah.
Wonderful. And if we both hadn't been in an accident, we both wouldn't have been on the drops, and we both wouldn't have been talking here today.
We wouldn't have been talking here today.
So, you know, an amazing how these things, you know, you don't always see it at the time, but when you look back, you think, oh yeah, I can see why that happened, and that bit moved into there, and all the pieces are coming into play, aren't they? So
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And our passion is helping people get well, is healing.
Naturally.
And the love for mankind.
Yeah, and for me, I can't recall feeling so well, so vibrant and alive than I have done since I've been on the drops a year now, just a year. But yeah, I mean, I go here, I go there, because people say, God, where have you've been there, you've been there, you've been up there, you've been down there, and but I've just got so much energy, and I still got a lot of places to go and visit, and lots of things to do and see, and lots of sharing, to help people be the best version of themselves.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah. So absolutely brilliant, Michele. I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. Everybody's on a journey. Everybody's got a story to tell.
Right.
Some much more dramatized than others. Some much more heartfelt
Thank
stories.
you. He says you and I both look 10 years younger.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
So will I. I'm not doing the aging process. Every birthday you add on a year. Well, mine go the other way now. I don't play the aging game.
Yeah, that's right. Me either. Yeah.
No, it's been an absolute delight. So thank you for sharing. And I look forward to talking with you another time soon.
Thank you for inviting me on your podcast, Andrena and Jeffrey. It's been a pleasure.
No, it's been our pleasure. So thank you for sharing, eh?
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Anything you want to say, Jeffrey? All good?
Well, if you girls look 10 years younger, I'm 20 years younger.
Yeah, get on. In your dreams.
You girls are cougars. What are you talking about?
I like that. Yep, I like that.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, next week, I think we're going to do Wednesday morning, because Jeffrey's flying Thursday morning off to Bosnia, to the Bosnian pyramids. So
wow.
When I've sorted out who's going to be the guest next week, I'll put something up later. So just to give you a heads up. So okay, well, thank you everybody for tuning in and listening to the lovely Michele this week, and wishing you all a lovely week until we're on the show next week.
Okay. You want your little
oh yes. Look, I took
There you go. I'll leave it to her to have the last word.
Yeah.